Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Once again, it is time for a squat and deadlift day, but a quick reminder, if you guys would please click like down below, be greatly appreciated. If you are not subscribed or following, please do so. And if you would be so kind as to drop me a comment down below, I would greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much. So let's get over to it. Did a top set of squats, top set of deadlifts. I decided to just kind of low bar this. It's kind of my power squat. What I want to do with my squats here, I did mess with the high bar last time to see how it felt. Felt like I'm just as good at high bar almost as low bar, but I really do want to just focus on trying to move a lot of weight through a long range of motion here. So I'm like, let's just do low bar again today, because I'd squat twice a week, so I did a low bar, then I did a high bar. I did low bar again this time. I almost feel like I might want to just stick with low bar. My shoulders seem to be healthy enough for it, and just focus on quality reps and depth. And I felt like the fatigue was accumulating a bit, and part of it was because I hit depth there. I definitely trying to reach meet legal depth for sure on every rep. So just focusing on those quality reps. The deadlift, guys, that didn't go well. I did a double with that, and if you guys could see the bar, that was my power bar, and I use it for so much stuff. It has so much gunk and liquid grip in the knurl. The knurl is not exposed. The knurl is completely full, packed full of stuff, and it felt almost slippery. I'm like, man, this is almost slipping out of my grip. I don't feel like failing a grip, trying to get more reps. We got 2 quality reps there. We got a good pull last time. Let's just chill for a moment with it and go over to the other stuff. I did clean the bar, so this workout took me a lot longer because I was so frustrated with that bar. I stopped right there, and I just couldn't finish the workout. I had to clean the bar. I had to break out the water hose, some boiling water, 3-in-1 oil to oil it back up, and just kind of scrubbed it out a bit. I almost feel like it needs a second go, to be fair. But I think next time I'm just going to use a deadlift bar. So something I thought about here, because I'm like, I just did 2 sets of these 2, so that gave me 3 sets for quads, 3 sets for hamstrings. And I'm like, my volumes are low enough, and I could just use the extra size. I almost feel like I don't have to do these other movements, meaning I could just squat and deadlift. And I know that sounds like a lot of people are like, man, that would be 6 sets of each a week, but that would be all my quad and glute work and hamstring work, right? Because I could just do my other supplemental stuff after that. I did PR this though, so I'm like, okay, let's go to 300 on this, try to push it. But I don't necessarily feel more quad on this. It's just that it takes the low back out. But I'm like, you know what, why don't we just continue to build the core up? I'm doing ab work again, hanging leg raises. I don't feel like the axial fatigue is absolutely burying me with the squats and deadlifts. So let's come in and just do some heavier sets like I'm doing there, right? In that 415, 425 range, 405 range even, right? Down in that range on squats, deadlifts 500, low 500s. And let's just crank out some quality sets. That might be what I do next time. And just build some muscle out of it, right? They build your entire body. Squats and deadlifts build the whole body. And then I'll have a little bit of other supplemental work. Okay. Also keeping in mind, conventional deadlifts do build quads, just to a lesser extent than squats. They all build glutes. So I feel like I could come behind it and just do 3 supplemental lifts. The stuff I did today after these 2, right? I could do some calf raises. I could do some reverse hypers, do some shrugs. And yes, I did do shrugs today. Because it's one thing I'm not getting in the upper body workout. I didn't do any truly direct trap work, especially with no rows, because I'm doing pull-ups and laterals. Does it hit trap? Sure. But I feel like, I could use one direct trap exercise, just like I have a tricep, just like I have a bicep movement, so that every muscle does get worked directly, right? And that's if I count quads from the squats, hamstrings for the deadlifts, low back from the reverse hypers, so on and so forth. As long as every muscle gets some direct work, we're good. So the calf raises, after I did the superset with the glute ham raises and belt squats, I came over and did calf raises. I went up on weight on this, so I'm going to work these up. These were fairly challenging. On the plate with the boots, this is harder. You guys have seen me do more weight, but it's also just on the floor. That extra range of motion makes it harder, so I'm going to work this up. Let's see if we can get the calves a little bigger. Why? Higher energy turnover. I don't even care about building bigger calves. My calves are jacked even just from squats and deadlifts. I don't have to train them, but I started training them again. I don't know that they even grow when I train them anymore. They just stay big anyways. But I'm like, what if we can gain a little muscle? What will it do for the swing weight of my legs? What will it do for the calories I burn when I walk? Let's just go ahead and train them. Also, bigger calves give you bigger bounce off the hamstring when you squat later for maxes, especially if you start having to sink it deep, right? If we try to go really deep, we get that extra bounce, so it'll matter for maxes later. So yeah, let's go ahead and just do calf work. I don't see a problem with it. Why not? Beneficial, and that way every muscle's been worked. The only thing I'm not really directly going to hit at this point might be, forearms and neck. But do I need to? I'm doing all this pulling, tons and tons of pulling with no straps, especially doing the shrugs, and I feel like that almost covers this stuff. We know shrugs do work your neck. I mean, I could throw some neck exercises back in. Don't know that I need them. I could throw some forearm work. I feel like forearm work would be overkill with me doing all this and the hanging leg raises. But yeah, I did the 3 sets of shrugs. Used the deadlift bar since it's not all gunked up, and it's probably better for grip. So it lets me really go relatively heavy on this without the grip totally failing, while still, getting some grip work. So not having to strap up. But yeah, so 3 sets of 8 is what I managed to do with these. And I did feel the grip starting to give a little, and sure, it might that limit my trap slightly, it might, but it will also force my grip and forearms to come back up. So that's going to be a big part of it. But if I'm doing this and then I'm deadlifting and stuff, I feel like that will cover all the grip work. And I might need to do some more, but I do feel like my grip is kind of limiting my deadlift, especially with that bar. So I need to make sure there is enough stuff in here to keep my grip getting strong again. I'm looking thick there. And then, of course, the reverse hypers. This time I managed to not swing on all of them. I'm trying to do these really strict right now because I'm not trying to do it for prehab. I'm doing it to build my low back. Okay? So I'm counting this as a low back exercise. So when I do talk about 3 sets twice a week, a lot of these movements that hit multiple muscles, I'm only counting them towards one muscle. And I think that is a good way to approach this when we start saying, well, let's do lower volumes. Let's make sure we get 6 sets for every muscle each week. But that's if we're counting reverse hypers as a low back, if we're counting deadlift as like a hamstring glute, if we're counting squats as just our quad. And I mean, we'd have to throw an abductor, but you guys see what I mean. We're really only thinking about one muscle. We will get a lot more volume than people think about. They don't think in those terms. It's like, oh yeah, so I'm doing a pullover type extension that does work the pecs and the lats, even though I count it as just triceps. Counting the bench is just my chest, even though it's a tricep exercise too. Doing a side lateral raise and just counting it as my 1 delta exercise. Well, all those pull-ups and the benching and stuff is obviously hitting shoulders. Even the tricep exercise is shoulders. But, so then we come in and do direct work. So we have some type of direct exercise, even if it's a big compound. We only count it towards the most important muscle involved. I'm only counting pull-ups as lats. All right, but overall, pretty happy with today's workout. Kind of know where I'm going to adjust stuff moving forward. So I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.